Param Vishnupad, Paramahansa Paravatikacharya, Sri Srimada's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBD Founder Acharya, Paramahansa Paravatikacharya, Sri Srimada's Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki. Ananta Gauri Vaishnavrinda Ki. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki. Ganga Jamuna Mai Ki. Tulasi Devi Maharani Ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki. Harinam Sankirtana Ki. Prihat Madanga Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, text number 3. Okay. Nigama kalpatador galitam. Oh, sorry. Nigama kalpatador galitam palam sukha mukad. Amrita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam mohor aho rasika bhuvi babuka nigama kalpataro galitam palam Nigama kalpataro galitam palam Sukhamukam amrita drava samyutam Sukhamukat amrita drava samyutam Pipata bhagavatam rasamalayam Pipata bhagavatam rasamalayam Mohoraho rasika bhuvi bavukaha Mohor aho rasika bhuvi bavuka Is there a tune I'm supposed to be singing this? Nigama kalpataro galitam palam Vaishnavis. Nigama, the Vedic literatures. Kalpataru, the desire tree. Galitam, fully matured. Palam, fruit. Sukha, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the original speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Mukat, from the lips of. Amrita, nectar. Drava, semi-solid and soft, and therefore easily swallowable. Samyutam, perfect in all respects. Pipata, do relish it. Bhagavatam, the book dealing in the science of the eternal relationship with the Lord. Rasam, juice, that which is relishable. Alayam, unto liberation, or even in a liberated condition. Muhu, always. Aho, oh. Rasika, those who are full in knowledge of mellows. Bhuvi, on the earth. Bhavuka, expert and thoughtful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, this is a long purport, so I'm just going to read the first half, and then tomorrow, speaker will continue from there. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Purport. In the two previous shlokas, it has been definitely proved that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the sublime literature which surpasses all other Vedic scriptures due to its transcendental qualities. It is transcendental to all mundane activities and mundane knowledge. In this shloka, it is stated that Srimad Bhagavatam is not only a superior literature, but it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. In other words, it is the cream of all Vedic knowledge. Considering all this, patient and submissive hearing is definitely essential. With great respect and attention, one should receive the message and lessons imparted by the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedas are compared to the desire tree because they contain all things knowable by man. They deal with mundane necessities as well as spiritual realization. The Vedas contain regulated principles of knowledge covering social, political, religious, economic, military, medicinal, chemical, physical, and metaphysical subject matter, and all that may be necessary to keep the body and soul together. Above and beyond all this are specific directions for spiritual realization. Regulated knowledge involves a gradual raising of the living entity to the spiritual platform. And the highest spiritual realization is knowledge that the personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all spiritual tastes or rasas. Every living entity, beginning from Brahma, the first-born living being within the material world, down to the insignificant ant, desires to relish some sort of taste derived from sense perceptions. These sensual pleasures are technically called rasas. Such rasas are of different varieties. In the revealed scriptures, the following 12 varieties of rasas are enumerated. 1. Rodra, anger. 2. Adbhuta, wonder. 3. Shringara, conjugal love. 4. Hasya, comedy. 5. Virya, chivalry. 6. Daya, mercy. 7. Dasya, servitorship. 8. Sakya, fraternity. 9. Bhayanaka, horror. 10. Bibhatsa, shock. 11. Shanta, neutrality. 12. Vatsalya, parenthood. The sum total of all these rasas is called affection or love. Primarily, such signs of love are manifested in adoration, service, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. And when these five are absent, love is present indirectly in anger, wonder, comedy, chivalry, fear, shock, and so on. For example, when a man is in love with a woman, the rasa is called conjugal love. But when such love affairs are disturbed, there may be wonder, anger, shock, or even horror. Sometimes love affairs between two persons culminate in ghastly murder scenes. Such rasas are displayed between man and between animal and animal. There is no possibility of an exchange or rasa between a man and an animal, or between a man and any other species of living beings within the material world. The rasas are exchanged between members of the same species. But as far as the spirit souls are concerned, they are one qualitatively with the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the rasas were originally exchanged between the spiritual living being and the spiritual whole, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The spiritual exchange or rasa is fully exhibited in spiritual existence between the living beings and the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore described in the Shruti mantras, Vedic hymns, as the fountainhead of all rasas. When one associates with the Supreme Lord and exchanges one's constitutional rasa with the Lord, then the living being is actually happy. Om Ganatamananda Shajananjana Shalakaya Chakshurana Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, in the translation here, the Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to a fruit. It says here, it's the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. Twice it says, therefore this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. So this isn't just a haphazardly chosen metaphor. This is really a good metaphor. The Bhagavatam is compared to a fruit. And I've heard it described that the actual fruit is compared to is a mango. Okay, so imagine you have a mango in a tree. Okay, so if you have a mango in a tree and you want to eat a mango, do you want to eat a mango that's a green mango that's in a tree? Or like a brown mango that's in a tree? Or do you want to grab a mango from a tree that's like reddish, yellowish, you know, and you could almost, you could smell it. Is that what mango do you want to get? Assuming you're going to eat it right away. The third one, right? You want to go for that mango that's nice and red and yellow, and you could just, you could even see little drips of juice coming out from the top of it, right? Yeah, that's the mango you want, okay? Now, I didn't know this before I became a devotee. I learned this from Prabhupada. But apparently, it could even get better than that. Even better than a really nice ripe mango is a really nice ripe mango that has been, that a parrot has made some pecks in. You know, the birds, they try to cash in on the deal too. So the parrots, they're not fools. When the mango gets really nice and ripe and everything, they'll go and they'll try to get their share, and they peck on it, and they try to extract some juice. And actually, it's explained that when they do that, contrary to what might seem like common sense for a Western, it actually makes it sweeter. That mango becomes sweeter, and that's what's meant here when it says here, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Srila Sukadev Goswami. And you know what Sukadev means, don't you? Parrot. Sukha means parrot. You see, I think that's part of the reason why he's called Sukadev, because he made the Bhagavatam sweeter. See? It was already sweet, but by Sukadev Goswami giving his realized presentation of it, it actually even became sweeter. And that's the general principle. As each, self-realized, perfectly pure devotee acharya comments on the Bhagavatam, it's like the parrot pecking on it, and that mango actually becomes sweeter. Okay? Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. That's how it works. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. No, it's just like that mango. It's already just right. It's already sweet as anything, and it's just right and ready to go. But if that parrot pecks on it, it's even sweeter. You see? And if even another parrot pecks on it, that's the idea here. Okay, so that's that metaphor. As I said, it wasn't just like a haphazard, random metaphor there. It's a very accurate, nice metaphor there, so that needed to be described. Okay, so now, next part is that I want everybody to imagine something. We're going to imagine something here. Imagine you want to go to the moon, okay? And let's, for argument's sake, for the sake of the class, let's say the moon in this case is Goloka Vrindavan. So you want to go to the moon, all right? And let's assume that the only way to go to the moon is by ladder. So in order to get to the moon, just the same old moon we see every day out there, every night, but you have to go by ladder. Now, I'm not suggesting that we're going back in time, that we're back in the Stone Ages or something like that. We're right here in 2017, but just for the sake of the analogy or the metaphor I'm going to make, whatever you call it, you have to go by this ladder. Okay, you have to just climb up the ladder and to get to that moon. And that moon is Goloka Vrindavan. So in other words, when you go all the way up the ladder and you get to the moon, which is Goloka Vrindavan in this case, you're there. You've made it. Okay? Now that's pretty, that's a pretty hefty climb there. Okay, so let's imagine this though, that if you're willing, there's different ways. Oh, well, yeah, here's the goes. That at some point that ladder turns into an escalator. At some point that ladder turns into an escalator. But you can't see it. You can't see because it's too, that happens beyond what you can see. You just have to, but the people that are in charge of the process of getting people up that ladder to, the moon, which is Goloka Vrindavan in this case, they tell you that at some point this ladder is going to turn into an escalator. And if you're willing to accept that, we could take you right up to where the escalator begins and you don't have to climb the ladder. Okay? Now there's some people who they want to go there. They want to get up to the top. They want to get to the moon, but they just can't. They don't have faith in it. They just think, nah, you're not going to. That sounds too good to be true. A ladder turns into an escalator right in the middle of, no, sorry. I want to get up there, but I'll just stick to the basic process. I'll just start right from the beginning here, and I'll just climb up the ladder. Thank you very much, Yeah. So that's their choice. But some people are prepared. Some people have faith. Some people have some faith in this. They go, oh, well, that's okay. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good deal. All I have to do is just take your word for it that at some point that ladder turns into an escalator, and then you'll just take me right up to where the escalator part begins, and I just get up from that point onwards. I'm just riding up on the escalator. Okay, I'm down with that. I'll sign on for that. Let's do it. Okay? Then you're on. Now, who's in a better position? Who do you think's in a better? Assuming these guys are telling the truth, that if you take their word for it and you prepare to do the hop on at the escalator part of the ladder, who's in a better position to get to the Goloka Vrindavan moon? Who would you say? The people who are going to start right at the beginning? How many are with me? How many brains? Okay. Who's in a better position? Well, let me ask you. I'm going to take somebody at random. I'm going to make trouble here. You, Nimai. If you had a choice, which would you want to do? You'd go with the escalator. Guranga Prem? Nilamadava? Is there anybody here who'd want to start right at the beginning and just work and climb up those stairs, climb up that ladder? Bhakta Sebastian? No, I'm telling you, it's a special concession. If you're just willing to accept, if you just have faith, in the people who are in charge of the process, That if you just have faith that you could start, if you just take their word for it, they're going to take you right up there by some special means or whatever, and they're going to start you right up where the ladder turns into an escalator, and they're just riding up the escalator right up to the Goloka Vrindavan moon. Is there anybody then, therefore, that want... Mother, Shamapriya? Okay, that's good. And it's good to be, buyer beware, right? That's good. But let's say that there's already people who have gone on just gone right out to the escalator part of the ladder, and they've communicated back that, hey, it works. It's for real. You just have to take their word for it, and they take you right up to the escalator part, and up you go. So is there anybody here who wants to start at the beginning? If you want to start at the beginning, we'll make some good arrangements for you. We'll give you like a 10-pound backpack, which is not very heavy, with really like 2 months worth of really high nutritious, lightweight backpack kind of food. And they got some special hooks ready, so when you're ready, if at the end of the day, if you need a good night's sleep, you just can hook onto the ladder in such a way you can actually sleep for 6 or 8 hours and then just start up the next day. All arrangements will be made for you. Does anybody want to start and climb? Bhakta Roger, you're a young, healthy guy, okay? If I gave you a backpack with some good trail mix, something like that, lightweight, highly nutritious, okay? And I started you at the bottom of the ladder. How many miles a ladder do you think? And you could sleep at night. You could get a good night's sleep just by hooking, they made some... How many miles a ladder do you think you could climb? Do you think you could do 1,000? No? Every day. It's the only thing you had to do is just try to climb that ladder. You don't think you could even do 1,000 miles? Okay, well, Bhakta Raja might be like, he's one of the youngest, healthiest guys here in the audience. He doesn't even think he could do 1,000. Well, the moon is like 250,000 away, according to the scientists. So, in other words, it's a hard process. So pretty much everybody here is in agreement. We all want to do the escalator, right? Right, okay. Well, yeah, me too. And actually, that's our situation. That's our situation. We're actually, this is a metaphor, an analogy. We're in that situation. In that, in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 3, Krishna uses this example. Or Prabhupada actually uses it in his purport. But the verse goes, Arudakshura munir yogam karma karanam uchate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva sama karanam uchate. For one who is a neophyte in the Eightfold Yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of material activities is said to be the means. Well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, here it comes. This is in Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada says, the process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga. So, in other words, the process of going up the ladder, that's yoga, okay? The process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga. It may be compared to a ladder for attaining the topmost spiritualization. See, so once again, you just got to imagine that in order to attain this topmost spiritual realization, you got to go up this ladder, okay? It says the ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity, the first rung, okay, and rises up to perfect self-realization and pure spiritual life. The destination, the goal, the Goloka Vrindavan moon, okay? And there's one big long ladder, starting from the lowest material condition, ending in the perfect self-realization and pure spiritual life, okay? So Prabhupada says here, according to various elevations, different parts of the ladder are known by different names. But all in all, the complete ladder is called yoga and may be divided into 3 parts, namely Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Now we're going to skip ahead. Okay, right. So Prabhupada says here, concerning the Eightfold Yoga system, attempts in the beginning to enter into meditation through regulative principles of life and practice of different sitting postures, in parentheses he says, which are more or less like bodily exercises, are considered fruitive material activities. All such activities lead to achieving perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses. When one is accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities. Now here it comes. Okay? Prabhupada says, a Krishna-conscious person, however, is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation because he always thinks of Krishna. And being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. In other words, what Prabhupada's saying here, in that last paragraph, he's saying that a Krishna conscious person starts where the dhyana yoga or the Astanga yogi finishes. In other words, say you want to go start at the beginning of the ladder. All right? First you go through jnana yoga, then you go through dhyana yoga, and the highest point that you're going to get to as a result of your dhyana yoga is just going to take you to where the bhakti yoga starts off. Now and we're able to just start where we're able to start up where these guys are having to leave off. Dhyana yoga leaves off. Here, it says it clearly. Prabhupada says here. A Krishna conscious person, however, he's situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation. That's where if they're fortunate, if they make it that far, if they're able to. First, as we know, in Kali Yuga, it's not the recommended process, and very rarely can some rare person rarely be successful to get to that point of actually samadhi, which is the eighth part of the eighth rung of the ladder, or something like eighth part of that system. Astanga yoga means eightfold yoga system. So it's very rare, okay? But even if you are that person, even if Bhaktaraja could do 10,000 miles up on that ladder, still you're only getting as far. He's only got to the point where we're going to start off. The rest of us are going to start off. No offense to Bhaktaraja here. We're going to start off at that 10,000 mile elevation and just hop on the escalator. That's what Prabhupada's saying here. Yeah. Being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. So the bhakti yogi starts off where the successful, and most of them are not successful, by the way. Most people can't even address this, process, okay? And among those who can, most are not going to make it, especially now, Kali Yuga, But even if one of them is successful, we're starting off, by accepting bhakti yoga, we're starting off at the highest point of success that they could possibly get to. We're going to go on from there. And much more easily. You see, getting back to this, the analogy of the ladder, which would you rather do? I mean, have you ever tried to climb a ladder? It's strenuous. Climbing a ladder is strenuous. I mean, that takes energy. That's a full body workout. That is a full body. You try it sometime. Try climbing a ladder for like 20 minutes. You're going to be pooped. It's your arms and your legs. It's a workout, okay? As compared to just hopping on an escalator and just all you got to do is make sure you don't fall off. And even if you do fall off, say you fall off the escalator, okay? They've got, the arrangement is that, those bungee cords, have anyone seen those guys, they have this bungee thing? Okay, so what they have is like a bungee net. So if you fall off the escalator, I'm just elaborating upon the analogy here. You fall off the escalator, you fall into one of these bungee nets, and it catches you, and you just go, you get bounced around a bit, bounce, bounce, bounce. But you're okay. And even if you want, they give you the option that you can get back on the escalator again. And if you haven't made offenses to the escalator, you can get back on the escalator at the point where you fell off from it. You see? That's bhakti yoga. In other words, we're on the escalator. We've been, because we've just made that, we're like those people in the beginning that just decide, let me have faith in these guys, and okay, I'll take the escalator. We've had faith. We made the choice. Let me have faith in what Prabhupada and the Acharyas are saying, and take to the process of devotional service, or also known as bhakti yoga, and let's see how it goes. We've made that choice to have faith, so therefore we're on that escalator, and we're just going up. Whether we know it or not, we're going up. We're making progress towards the Goloka Vrindavan moon, just by having accepted this process, having faith. A very important thing. And even though many of us who made that, we might be in this category of beginning from the lowest material condition of the living entity. In other words, there's no prior qualification required more than just your faith. How about that? How about that? How good is that? No prior qualification necessary other than your faith. You could be coming from the lowest material condition, but if you just make that choice, you make that decision, I'm going to have faith in this process. I'm going to have faith in what I've been taught, by Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. You're on the escalator. That's pretty good. I mean, that is pretty good. In other words, Krishna gives you the benefit of the doubt. Everybody's heard that expression, benefit of the doubt? Here, I'll give you a dictionary definition of it. Benefit of the doubt means a concession that a person or a person may be regarded as bona fide if the contrary has not been proven. See? Notice Krishna gives you the benefit of the doubt. You are prepared to, even though you might be coming from the lowest material condition of a living entity, as low as you might be, if you're prepared to accept, put your faith, place your faith in what Prabhupada and the acharyas have said, then you are given the benefit of the doubt. Krishna's going, okay, you're going to believe? You're prepared to do that? All right, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. In other words, until you show that you're unqualified to be on that escalator, you're on the escalator. Congratulations. You're on the escalator. And all you got to do is not jump off the escalator. Don't jump ship. And you're going. Right? So that's our situation. That's our position. And just relating it to today's verse, about the Bhagavatam, the glories of the Bhagavatam. So obviously, as I think Sri Sachi mentioned in his class, was it yesterday or day before? Okay, yeah, sorry, Saturday, right? Yesterday or Sunday. That hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the processes of devotional service. There are others. There's, actually, I'll read this very nice verse. It's found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know if it originally comes from there, but it might. And it goes like this. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravana, Mathura Vasa, Sri Murtira, Shradaya Sevana. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. That's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructing Sanatana Goswami. So that might be the actual origin of that verse that's coming right from Lord Chaitanya, which is, wow, that's potent. You can't get a more authoritative source than that. It's coming right from Lord Chaitanya. So basically, let's break it down. What he's saying is that there's 5 particular items of devotional service which are really potent, okay? And they are associating with the devotees, chanting the holy name, residing in a holy place, worshiping the deity with faith and veneration, and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is, getting back to the verse, glorifying the Bhagavatam. This is one of the 5. This is one of the 5 super duper important things you could do, if you want to really advance in devotional service. Hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And actually, you could even go further on that, because there's been occasions where Prabhupada said, he was talking about the importance of reading his books and studying and having the regular classes, and he made the point that unless my disciples read my books, at some point there won't be any more of this Hari Hari Bol. So, he was making the point that even on another occasion he was making the point that unless there's regular recitation of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, at some point the devotees will be thinking that the arch of Vigraha is Galagraha, which means a burden around the neck. You see? So in other words, even some of these 5 limbs, are dependent also upon hearing. And in many other places, Prabhupada said of the 9 processes of devotional service, hearing is first and most important. You see? And of course, it's kind of like, sorry, I need my hands to do this. It's inextricably mixed with association with the devotees. So we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and of course it's in the association of the devotees. So between those 2 things, association of the devotees and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, the other things rest upon that even, you could argue. Because wherever that's happening, that's a holy place. Okay, so that's taken care of there. But the worship of the deity and even the chanting is kind of dependent in some sense on the hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of the devotees. So this is like, a really super important thing that we're doing. And it's, and this is, what's being offered to us. This is what's been given to us. Now, in this verse, it's talking about rasas. And generally, you tend to, rasas, as I think Prabhupada says in the last thing I read, was that when one associates the spiritual exchange, or rasa, is fully exhibited in the spiritual existence between the living beings and the Supreme Lord. When one associates with the Supreme Lord and exchanges one's constitutional rasa with the Lord, then the living being is actually happy. So this is, rasas is generally taken as pretty elevated stuff. It's pretty elevated subject matter, rasas. Okay? But here it is. It's being talked about and right in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yesterday, and Prabhupada gave lecture, and I don't know if, if everybody, I caught it. He was talking about the rasas, and he wasn't making it sound like it was not attainable. I was listening, and I was thinking, well, Prabhupada's talking about this in such a way that it's kind of making me feel that you can attain it. You see, and the point, the reason I'm mentioning this point is that we should be thinking we can attain it. It's like, otherwise, how's it a gift? In other words, we should, as devotees, as aspiring as sadhakas, we should be feeling that, yeah, I can become successful in this process. I can become successful in this process. Yeah. How? By the mercy. That's what mercy is. Here, I'll give you another definition. Mercy. Well, actually, I don't have to. Mercy is when you get something more than what you deserve. Justice is when you get what you deserve. Okay? But mercy is when you get something better than what you deserve. So maybe you're supposed to be punished, so mercy means you get less punishment or no punishment. Or just you get something more than what you deserve. That's what's happening. That's what this movement is all about. It's all about trying to give living entities something more than what they deserve. Otherwise, what's the meaning of that statement? Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namani Gautashvena Maha. Rupa Goswami prayed to Lord Chaitanya that you are the most magnanimous incarnation. Why? Because you're freely distributing what no other incarnation has ever done before, pure love for Krishna. You see? He's giving the process. Lord Chaitanya gave the process, and for one, and then if somebody takes that up with sincerity, acts in good faith, then the experience will be there. You see? So, again, you're not a prakrita sahaja. If you're thinking, yeah, I'm looking forward to experiencing my constitutional rasa with Krishna. If you're a sadhaka, if you're following the four regulative principles, and you're engaging in sadhana bhakti, means you're chanting your 16 rounds, and you're coming to the program, and you're doing the things we're supposed to be doing, like what we're doing right now, then you're justified. You're justified in thinking that, yeah, I'm going to experience love for Krishna. Maybe not later today or tomorrow, but maybe hopefully in this lifetime. But you're justified thinking like that. If you're Prakrita Sahaja is somebody that they're not following rules and regulations. They're not following regulative principles. They're just imitating. You see, but we're not in that category. Devotees who are following their regulative principles and chanting the rounds. I actually heard Prabhupada say in a lecture yesterday or the day before, and then I read it again, and I'm reading Mother Vishaka's book, 11 Years, 5 Months, and A Lifetime Full of Love, which is incredible, by the way. If you haven't read that book, and you can get a copy and read it, it's amazing. You should read it. But anyway, in the book and in the lecture, Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds, and you follow the four regulative principles, I heard him say it. He said, you're going to be like immovable, like the Himalayas. And he said it twice. He said, if you chant 16 rounds and follow the four regulative principles, you are immovable, like the Himalaya mountains, or Himalaya mountains, or whatever the correct way to pronounce it. Okay. And in the book, he wrote 2 different letters to Yadav Brahma Vishaka, same thing basically. He didn't use that example, that analogy or metaphor, but same point. You see? So for devotees who are actually sadhakas, yeah, we should be like optimistic that that's what we got to look forward to, Because, one extreme is a prakrita sahaja. They're thinking, they're imitating, they're not following. But then there's the other extreme of like somebody who's, you're following in one sense, you're following, but you don't have that faith. You're thinking like, don't be doubtful. We shouldn't be doubtful. I think, that's the point I'm making. If we're following, we should, Prabhupada never said like, follow, but don't expect too much. Does anybody remember any statement like that where Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 good principles, come to the entire program, but, be honest with you, don't expect very much of a result. I mean, probably it's not much, it's not really going to work out. No, Prabhupada never preached like that. He always preached if you do those things, the good stuff is going to happen. You're going to make advancement. And anyway, we should be thinking like that and feeling like that. So, okay, I guess I could stop there. Does anybody have any question or comment? Rabindranath Prabhu.
Yeah, you mentioned about getting the mercy more than means more than we deserve. But what about Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly?
So what was the first part of the question again?
You mentioned we get the mercy. Mercy means we get more than we deserve. And but what about Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita where he says that as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly?
Yeah, I don't see any contradiction there. If you surrender to Krishna sincerely, and taking up the process of bhakti yoga, then he's going to reward you accordingly. He's going to award you. You're in the mercy category, But if you surrender to Krishna by just say wanting to be like a karmakanda or something like that, you're in the you're in a different category. You see, Krishna's got certain ways in which he's decided he wants to reciprocate with different living entities who are approaching him with different attitudes, and so if you approach him with that kind of sincere, faithful attitude, then Krishna reciprocates in a particular way. It's not, as they surrender unto me. That makes sense to me, what I just said. If you surrender to Krishna with, full, wholehearted enthusiasm and faith and, desire to please the spiritual master, then Krishna's, as they surrender unto me, you're surrendering in that way, then Krishna says, I'll reward you accordingly. If you surrender to Krishna, of course that verse is very broad and universal. If you surrender to Krishna, well, maybe I'll read the Bhagavad Gita, maybe I'll have a look at it. And Krishna will reward you accordingly too. You're not bringing that much to the table, so Krishna's, in general, you're going to come out. I mean, Prabhupada did say, I think it's in the Krishna book, that if you take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 towards you. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 10 towards you. But if you take 1,000 steps towards Krishna, then Krishna's taking 10,000 steps towards you. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.